Hello, this is Robert Hillier, and today's video is called It Didn't Work For Me. And what didn't work for me is divorce, because I was divorced about 25 years ago, so it was a fair while, but it didn't work for me. And it should have worked for me because at the time I was a marriage guidance counsellor. I knew all the stuff and I'd well read, and I had access to probably some of the best marriage guidance resources in Australia, yet I still end up by finding myself getting divorced, and 4 years later being as grumpy and as bloody terrible as I'd ever been. Can't even say it properly, still embarrassed about it actually. So, but today my life is really good, and I'm very happily married because my second relationship, my second marriage to Annie, it has worked for me. But it took a lot of work. And why I say the divorce didn't work for sure, because if I had been able to do the work with my first wife, then that could have worked anyway, but I didn't. Too ignorant, too whatever, too pig-headed, too male, some people will say, but that's what I was. And I look back and think, gee, if I knew then what I know now, we could have had quite a different outcome, and my kids would have had a different outcome, and the whole thing would have been different, but not to be. It's ended up this way. But yeah, so, and I'm not advocating people should never get divorced. Not at all, because divorce sometimes can work. But only if you get divorced and as a result of being divorced, you are better off. Because most people aren't. 75% of people who get divorced end up being divorced again. And what I'd like to make sure is if people are going to get divorced, they get divorced in the pure knowledge of who they are and what they're doing. There's no sense in getting divorced and having to go through it all again with another partner. Boy, gee whiz, you've already broken one in. Don't have to work with another one to get that one right too. Because one thing's for sure, whatever you haven't resolved in this relationship, it will come up in every other relationship you ever have until you resolve it. So if the divorce is going to work, then the divorce will help you to resolve it, and it seldom ever does. There's nothing in the divorce process which helps you resolve things. The divorce process is about getting out of the relationship, it's about breaking a contract, and it's about paying money to legal eagles, and it's also about coming to some sort of settlement arrangement with regard to your kids. That's what divorce does. But it doesn't do anything to resolve the stuff that created the divorce in the first place. And by the way, it was not the other partner. Your partner might trigger all your stuff, but they don't create it. You might trigger all your partner's stuff, but you don't create it. That was already there before you ever come on, most of the time. And that's another video. So, when I say it didn't work for me, that's divorce. It didn't work for me. Doing a lot of work on myself, that worked for me. Doing a lot of work on myself and having and being in a relationship where my wife could also help me do that, that worked for me. Being in a relationship where I could help my wife work on her stuff, that worked for me. But getting out of a relationship because I didn't like how I was feeling around my wife at the time, that did not work. Okay, until next time, thank you.